John said he wanted to do a transformation in a way that hadn't been done before, where it wasn't just like Lon Chaney Jr. and the Wolfman.
I wanted it in bright light. I wanted no cutaways. He even said to me, make me storyboards. I hate making storyboards, but we did for the werewolf stuff. You know.
The first thing that happens is his hand, he brings his hand up. It had a really simple mechanism in it. Basically, if you have a syringe with the plunger out and a plastic tube going to another syringe with the plunger in, and you push the plunger in on this syringe, that plunger goes out. Real basic pneumatic ram. The first thing we shot with David was him with the most amount of hair glued onto his body. And I said to John, more practical for us to shoot that first and then trim the hair and then shoot this and then trim the hair and shoot this, pull some hair off and trim it and then shoot this one. So that's kind of what we did. It was cleverly set up so parts of his bodies were obscured by pieces of furniture and things, which made it easier for us to be able to just do these individual parts and not have to make up his whole body. Then he rolls over and he lands on the ground. That's the big stretched out body that was, David in a hole in the set.
In the floor, it was another day where I'm actually in the floor of the set and couldn't get out for 4 hours or so. And I go, I don't know that, can you do this to an actor?
David, lying back with his arms and head sticking out a hole, and the rest of it is this whole fake body that Tom Hester sculpted. I thought was really cool. Purposely, John wanted the head to change last. He didn't want the head to change very much.
I was afraid that the foam latex that we normally use wouldn't stretch out far enough for these changeo heads, so we went to a urethane elastomer that we could plasticize and highly plasticize, and we plasticized it about twice as much as you're supposed to. and it made this very stretchy, flesh-like material, but it eventually continued to plasticize, and it just turned itself into goo and just disintegrated. The transformation didn't really take all that long to actually shoot the physical things, and these changeo heads that we made, John would say action, and it would go and stretch out, and you go cut, and it's like, okay, we've got that. And it's like, we've got that. I just spent months working on this thing, and you shot, it took you 10 seconds to shoot it, Well, I got it, It's like, well, God, it was like disappointing to think of all that time going into that. But then I went with my crew of kids, to Westwood to see the movie when it came out with a real audience. And when that 10 seconds happened of that face stretching out, people stood up and cheered, and it was like, all right, this is why we did that.